Multilanguage learners are children learning two or more languages at the same time, as well as those learning a second language while continuing to develop their first or home language. There are many developmental benefits to learning two languages at an early age, in addition to becoming familiar with more than one language at the time the brain is optimally prepared for language learning. These benefits include improved executive functioning skills, including the ability to think flexibly, demonstrate self-control, focus attention, and tune out distractions. Other research has found that bilingual children have better working memory than children who speak only one language. Working memory holds, processes, and updates information over short periods of time and is very important for problem solving and executive function. The differences between bilingual and single language speakers exist even at the neural level. Research has found that the patterns of the brain response of bilingual infants to speech are different than those from infants whose families speak only one language. Bilingual children show continuous improvement in discriminating between two languages, for example, Spanish and English, from 9 months old onward. Increased exposure to both languages seems to be related to an improved ability to discriminate between the two. These bilingual neural responses extend to the prefrontal and orbitofrontal cortex, which may be related to the executive functioning benefits mentioned earlier. So let's learn more about multilanguage learners' early communication skills. First, let's see how much you already know. Do you think this statement is true or false? Babies are born with the ability to distinguish the unique sounds of any language in the world. That statement is true. However, while research shows children are born with the ability to distinguish the sounds of any language, they begin to lose this ability beginning at about 8 months old. At 8 months old, infants' brains begin to make the connections necessary to recognize and learn the language they are exposed to most frequently, and they lose the ability to perceive sounds they have never heard. For example, Japanese children who never hear the sound in their first year of life lose the ability to make the sound as they grow, just as their parents also cannot make that sound. Exposure to more than one language in the early years causes confusion for young children. Do you think that statement is true or false? That statement is false. Studies have shown that children who learn two languages simultaneously are not confused and, in fact, reach language milestones in a similar time frame to those of children who learn only one language. However, it will typically take multi-language learners longer to develop proficiency in both languages because they're building and using two separate language systems. True or false? Young children who are learning two languages typically have a smaller vocabulary than their peers who are learning only one language. The answer is false. A recent examination of the research on multilanguage learners found that while they may develop smaller vocabularies in each language, if children's vocabularies in both languages are combined, the total number of words a multilanguage learner knows is usually comparable to that of their single language peers. Using words from both languages in the same sentence is a normal part of multilanguage development. True or false? This statement is true. Indeed, children learning a second language or two languages simultaneously will often code switch from one language to the other. Using both languages in the same sentence is not evident of a problem in the language learning process. Instead, this shows that children understand the grammatical rules of both languages. Children typically use this strategy to clarify their meaning and message in a grammatically correct manner. After all, if a multilanguage learner does not know the relevant word in the language in which she is speaking, the logical thing to do is substitute the word in the other language to communicate the meaning she is intending to convey. When learning two languages, it doesn't matter how much of each language the child is exposed to as long as the child hears words in both languages each day. Do you think that statement is true or false? False. For children to develop proficiency over the long term in both languages, they need to have consistent, equivalent, rich language experience in both languages. In the past, experts advised that one parent speak one language to the child consistency while the other parent speak the second language consistently. However, research tells us that we don't need to be so rigid and that the one parent, one language approach is not particularly effective in raising bilingual children. What is most important when raising multilanguage learners is that children have roughly the same exposure to high quality input in each language each day, speaking and listening. In many cases, one language becomes dominant in a child's life. For example, if a child is learning Spanish as well as English, English may become the child's dominant language if that is what he hears all day at school and at childcare. This is also why it's so important for the parents to use the home language as much as possible around their children if the goal is for them to be bilingual. This maximizes the likelihood that children will be exposed to the rich, high-quality descriptive language that we know supports language development. A fluent foundation in their home language will help children in learning English as well. True or false? Children with a language delay or impairment have greater difficulty if they are multilanguage learners. That statement is also false. Research on bilingual students with language challenges shows that these children are still able to acquire proficiency in both languages. They would face the same or similar challenges in mastering any language. For example, if they have difficulty with language processing, they will have that challenge in both English and Spanish. At present, there is no scientific evidence that children with language difficulties should be limited to only one language. The earlier that a child is exposed to a second language, the better the child is likely to become in speaking it. Is this true or false? True. Studies show a clear relationship between the age of exposure to a language and a child's success in learning that language. The greatest success in learning a second language is seen in people who are exposed to the language in infancy or early childhood. The older a child is when exposed to a language for the first time, the less skilled the child is expected to become in the second language. This is true even when the second language is introduced as early as 4 to 6 years old. In short, the earlier, the better.